thought that it would be a good opportunity for us all to come together. It's another opportunity for players to compete against the other Irish players that are playing in the Wolfhounds. I think there'll be a lot got from a session like this tonight, so I'm really looking forward to it. On Daragh, breakdown! We're running at you, knocking you over, put a shot on! We're getting dominated!
The big thing for us is we've got a real good mixture of our youth and experience, which is really key for the pathway to kind of keep continuing to grow.
The goal of the competition was to ensure that the players were getting to compete at a very high level on a weekly basis, and I think it's definitely achieved that.
As soon as we walked in the door, it was a bit frosty at times, but yeah, we're all here in a good spirit. We all know what we're after. Move into transition. Hold it, wait. Head, stay. Here, eyes on. Oh, stop.
3, 2, play! On Briggsy! Got him back! Stop them, good forward! Here we are, breakdown here! On the ladder, down! You just gotta dig in. Go! Good accuracy here! Let's build it up!
Give me one more. Great, well done. Each week we've kind of developed, which has been really good. The last one we had was Lightning. That was really tricky. It was a real test game, which has put us in a really good stead for going into our playoffs.
Very excited to go up to Kingspan, to hopefully a big crowd, to have another chance to redeem ourselves against the Wolfhounds. So we're really excited about that.
Yeah, there'll be a big challenge, and the big thing for us is we want to make sure we come on top again. So for us as Wolfhounds, but we've me and myself and Dennis work quite closely together. It's important that we kind of keep continuing to grow and develop our players, and so what a great experience for that to happen over Kingspan.
Good afternoon and welcome to Tanner Park for this Women's Energia All-Ireland League fixture. 5th place Ballincollig face off against 8th place Cooke. Joining me this afternoon on commentary is Miss Aoife O'Callaghan. Aoife, you're very welcome. You've predicted dry conditions weather-wise today, but what kind of game do you believe we can expect here in Cork this afternoon?
I think looking at the pitch right now, it's going to be a heavy enough game. The ground is looking fairly sodden, unfortunately, after the deluge we've had the last couple of days. So I'd say a lot of carrying, but at the same time the wind looks to be non-existent for once. So with the kind of stick in the ground, you never know, kicking might also be a little bit of an option. So, but I know they have a couple of very speedy backs on Colleague's side, so I definitely think it'll be one of their days for sure.
We'll get to it in more depth a little bit later on, but we spoke when we'll be hearing from managers in a couple of moments' time. But in terms of where these teams are positioned, the so-called big top four, it's an opportunity today to see the teams in the lower places, but there's still plenty of talent and will amongst these teams. Oh
God, yeah, definitely. And I think Colleague are kind of sitting fairly comfortably at the moment, that this is an opportunity for them to both gain points maybe easily, but it's also an opportunity for Cooke to kind of kick themselves back into gear again and take that step up off the 8th spot. Looking at Colleague, they have some very handy players. You've got the Coombses, you've got the Flemings, you've got Michelle Driscoll's also back from Clover's duty and stuff, so really strong team going out there today.
Indeed. Well, Cooke and Ballincollig isn't just the only game in today's Energia All-Ireland League fixtures. All 5 p.m. kickoffs today on Saturday the 17th. As we said, this afternoon in Tanner Park, Ballincollig and Cooke. Blackrock College play Wicklow in Stradbrook. Railway Union face off against Galwegians in Park Avenue, and UL Bohemians and Suttonians isn't taking place. UL Bohemians were awarded 28 points to nil scoreline on that. So, as we said, on that front, there is an awful lot of talent across the league today, and as we see Cooke come out here again today, we're going to have a cracking game.
Yeah, 100%, and I think it's going to be kind of all cuffs off, just hell for leather. I think definitely from Cooke's side, I think they're trying to prove themselves for sure, and it's just going to be get out there, play whatever playbook they can and see how they get on.
I think we're going to hear fairly soon from the managers Colin Finnegan and Helen Brosnan, but let's speak a little bit about the coaching staff inside in Ballincollig at the moment. We said Fiona Hayes, who's moved on to pastures new in UL Bows, but the importance of momentum for Ballincollig, and that really comes from the coaching group and goes down towards the players. And
I think they finally, in fairness to them, they've been thereabouts in player talent, I think, the last while, and they finally found a coaching ticket that's actually suited them. I think, having Mike Petman now in there, I knew him a little bit from Dolphin, and like that, I think he's got a wealth of experience, and his experience in the Munster setup is definitely starting to suit them. And I just think their style of play has just started to slot in kind of nicely and stuff, and things are starting to work out for them, which is great to see.
Indeed, and undoubtedly we will see that kick-off fast approaching. But a little earlier I spoke to Ballincollig head coach Helen Brosnan and Colin Finnegan of Cooke RFC. Colin Finnegan, a difficult afternoon against Railway last week. Heading into this week, what do your team need to do well ahead of today's game?
I think we need to be adhering to a game plan, keep our structure and get out there and do the basics really well. Railway, really talented side, even when they're missing people. So, we did some things good, but we need to be more clinical in what we're doing.
Shield Plate, final defeat against Galwegians on the 27th of January. Really close game. Have you seen improvements in your team post-Christmas as we head into the second kind of round of games?
Yeah, no, I think even our last match pre-Christmas was Wegians, and we were in a good place. Plate final we didn't play, and I think all our players would understand that as well, that we need to be better. But I think as a group, definitely growing, and definitely we're getting more into our stride as the season goes on.
In terms of the elements today against a very strong and physical Ballincollig side, what do your team need to do well? You speak about the game plan, but can you give us a kind of an insight into how you need to approach the game?
Yeah, no, look, we need to be really clinical in retaining our own ruck ball. It's something we didn't do well enough last week, and we've worked a lot on it. We need to be really tight in what we want to do. We need to go and, I suppose, look for their weaknesses and expose it. I'm not going too deep into what their weaknesses may be, but no, it's like an excellent Ballincollig team. Lots of Clovers players, lots of Munster players. So we need to be on our game. We need to go and just stick to what we want to do today.
Good luck today, Colin. Cheers. Helen Brosnan, a great win last week against the Tonians in the JJ McDowell Memorial Grounds. How have preparations been for today's game against a Cooke side?
Yeah, so I suppose we targeted a few things from our last two games. It was brilliant to get the bonus point away win, and we had two great sessions this week, so we're really looking forward to today's battle. We want to make sure that we build on last week's performance, so that's the main message we've been giving to the players this week, is that we need to back up that performance now with another performance today. The
team are sitting in fifth in the table, the so-called Big Four. The season overall, have you seen improvements as you've gone on?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, facing the next block of games, I think we're in a really good place. Yeah, there was one or two games we feel that we kind of left, but we've learned from them, moved on. The players are growing, the depth is growing, so yeah, we're quite happy overall.
And what kind of threats are this Cooke team going to pose today? They are in eighth, but they have had some scalps over the course of the season.
Yeah, like Cooke are very physical. They're going to attack us at the breakdown. They're very good at turning over the ball. So like, it's very important today that we're clinical at the breakdown. I think that would be where the match would be won.
Well, we certainly have the weather to do it. Best of luck today, Helen.
Thanks a million.
Cheers.
Take care.
Good luck.
Thank
Chat
you.
after. Yes, that was Helen Brosnan of Ballincollig RFC and Colin Finnegan. Aoife, just on basically what Helen said there, speaking about momentum, 22-0 win in the JJ McDowell Memorial Grounds against the Tonians last week. We've spoken about, outside the top four, but Ballincollig really want to break into that in the next season or two. You can't help but notice she really wants to win, and that's kind of feeding into that group.
Oh, I think so, definitely, and I think you can even see it from their other scorelines throughout the competition so far. Like, they've bar obviously against the likes of Railway and Bows, like they've been fairly big, but like looking at the teams that are in them, they've all been fairly even, and like the wins have been they haven't been major, but they've been comfortable. So I think like the fact that they finally got a coaching ticket that works and a team that has gelled really well, I can see them being top four in the next year or two for sure, especially with, I think, even looking at some of the underage that are coming up. I think they've got a good underage setup here as well. So I think it's slowly but surely, I think it's building here, and it's great to see, finally, especially for AIL, women's AIL in Cork in general. Absolutely.
In terms of Cooke RFC then, Colin Finnegan, if you look at their results, 34-10, they won against Galwegians in December, they lost the Plate final and the Shield final, and again, in terms of momentum going well for Ballincollig, Cooke down languishing towards the end of the table, but how important is it for them to get a good start in this game, and also for them for the duration of the season, seeing as they're most likely not going to get into a top four, but again, they want to finish the season strong.
They do, and I think like they're in a similar position that they were kind of last year as well. They were still that kind of bottom end of the table, but I suppose they've only had one win this season. You know, I think if they got another one, or at least maybe even a draw, maybe under their belts, there could be that kick in confidence. I think definitely to kind of carry you through to the rest of the season, because if you just keep losing, it's going to make a very long season in general, and you don't want that for anyone.
Indeed. If we take a look at the league table here, as we said, the format this year, the top 2 will go into the showpiece final at the end of April. But if we focus on, let's say, from 5th to 9th at the moment, Aoife, we saw Wicklow last season at a stellar performance, got Club of the Year at the Energia All-Ireland League Season Awards. Not quite their season this year, but between those 4 teams, those 5 teams, Ballincollig, in your opinion, look most likely to have the ability to break into the top 4, as you say, with the grassroots and the correct coaching ticket in place?
Oh, 100%, and like you can even see it points wise, like they're not far off it. They're not far from Blackrock, so I think it's very much watching how the top 4 go in these next couple of games and see how we get on that way. But like as I said, like they're fairly, with how Santonians unfortunately had to give up the game this weekend, and you don't kind of know how the rest of their season's going to pan out. Like, will there be more of that? Like they're in a very comfortable position where like they don't have to be watching their backs in a sense, but they easily do have enough points that they can win a couple, see how they get on above them, and maybe even take that little bit of a leapfrog up. So it's tight enough when you think about it in the long run.
Yeah, indeed. And I suppose in terms from a playing point of view, you know, looking at the likes of the Old Bohemians and the Railways, who are powerhouses of women's Irish rugby, and as they have been, the games like today with the teams evenly matched, these are the games that the players really get to test themselves.
Oh, 100%, and it's going to be a really good day for the bench, I think, as well. You know, I think you've got the likes of kind of like the young Anna Roach and stuff like that kind of on the bench that... And she's such a talented player. Like, I've seen her play 18s, and she was fantastic, and she still has such a good career ahead of her that this is a really good opportunity for her to come out, hopefully get good time off the bench and really just give it a good go, I think, more than anything. So yeah, it's one of those games that's like, you can't think that Ballincollig are going to win it outright. You presume they probably will, but like, you never know, Cooke could come out firing. Aoife
O'Callaghan, not a gambler. The Ballincollig team line out as follows: the back 3 of Sinead O'Reilly, Ellie Kernan and Bridget Tuhig on the wings. Vice captain Shelley O'Driscoll is partnered by Alison Kelly. In the centre, Jane Pennyfather and Gemma Lane, the halfbacks for the Cork side. Tiare Seguenza, captains from number 8. She's partnered by Aoife Madigan and Megan Kenny in the back row. Gillian Coombs, whose brother had a very profitable evening in Clonethley last night, scoring 2 tries in Munster's win over the Scarlets in the URC, is in the second row with Laura Lee Baker, Ciara Fleming and Aoife Fleming, loose head and hooker, and they are accompanied by tight head Claire Coombs. The replacements are from Roisin Ormond, Olivia Hay Mulville, Shirley Bailey, Ciara Fitzgerald, Anna Roach, who Aoife has highlighted already as having a big future and will star off the bench, no doubt, Kelly Griffin and Kate O'Sullivan. And as we spoke to earlier, head coach Helen Brosnan has a physical game in mind here, Aoife. You've highlighted a couple of players on the Ballincollig side.
Oh yeah, so obviously Shelley O'Driscoll, great to have her back of Clover's duty. You know, I've had the opportunity myself to play against her a couple of times when she was before she came to college, she was with Skibbereen, and she's a fantastic player. You know, I was scrum half at the time and she was playing, I think, like either centre or full back, and I remember just watching her just run and being like, oh, why can't I be that person? But she's fantastic. You know, she's I think a bronze medal from the Tag World Cup there back in August, so she's a complete baller and an absolute like all-rounder. So yeah, I think she's been, I think the Clovers has been great for her because she's been in and around the fringes of Munster for a while, and I think getting this chance with the Clovers has kind of maybe put her into spotlight a bit more, which is fantastic to see.
Indeed, and it will be interesting to see how that goes. Cook's team line out through Laura Cairns at 15, Katie Gilmore and Tamsin Boyce on each wing, Tara O'Neill and Tay Maguire in the centres. Amanda Morton is partnered by Georgia Boyce at scrum half. Gemma McCamley captains for number 8, Emily Martin at 7 with Stacey Sloan at 6, Cara O'Kane at vice captain, a big leadership role for her this afternoon. She's partnered by Ellen Patterson in the engine room, Ilse Van Staten at tight head, Megan Simpson at hooker and Ella Garland at loose head. The replacements for Cooke: Kirsty Jackson, Izzy Harris, Dana Marks and Cindy Cancino. Aoife, head coach Colin Finnegan spoke about needing to follow a game plan that perhaps they didn't show up in a play final as well as they should have against Galwegians. You can sense there's a little bit of hurt there, and we see from the warm-up here that this Cooke team look like they're ready to go.
Oh, 100%. They're very young looking team from what I can kind of see, so I think they might have a bit more maybe sprite under them a little bit. But yeah, I'd say like after that plate loss, I'd say they're definitely, I don't want to say it for blood because that's a bit dramatic, but they need this win. They really do. You know, just like for even just for, as I said, like confidence standpoint, to have just one more win behind you, so that you're not kind of feeling like you're going Groundhog Day, loss over loss over loss. So I think they really need this. So fingers crossed for them. You know, you hope they have a good game.
Indeed. Kick-off is fast approaching, but let's just touch on the Clovers and the Wolfhounds game. You've covered a couple of those games in that half. It's been a pleasure for a lot of players to wear the Irish jersey. The national jersey is a huge privilege for them. It's taken a little bit of players out of it's taken a number of players out of their club setups, but in the overall scheme of things, they're getting good game time out of there.
Oh, definitely. And I think it's just, for them, it's the opportunity for actual game time, and it's the opportunity for, I suppose, like the younger players. Like you look at like Ruth Campbell now, who's been playing an absolute stormer for the Clovers and stuff. You know, it's them getting their, I suppose, proverbial finger out, so that if you do look at them and say, okay, they're ones to look at for the future teams to come. You know, it's all about building at the moment and figuring out what suits for like a semi-professional setup, because I think that's something we're still very much new to and still trying to figure out how it'll all work. So it's all good things, hopefully, and I hope it'll stand to us now. Coming into, I don't think it will probably stand to us this Six Nations, just because it is all so new. But hopefully in maybe 2 or 3 years' time, it might make more of a cohesive sort of calendar for them in a couple of years to come.
Indeed, it will on that front. As the crowds filter in, the floodlights are on and the game is fast approaching. What kind of game do you think, considering the conditions have miraculously cleared up, in complete opposite to what Med Éireann has said they would be this afternoon? But Aoife, in terms of the game plan for both sides, what way do you see it going?
It's going to be a hard game. It's fairly humid when you think about it. It's actually not that cold, which will wear out your forwards a little bit if there's any bit of running, and like that, the ground is really soft. So it's going to be quite hard on the old legs and the build up of lactic acid and all that jazz. So like that, it's going to be a lot of carrying, I'd say, kicking here and there. The wind is slightly starting to pick up again, so we'll just have to kind of wait and see. You know, it'll depend what each of their game plans are, really.
Indeed. Well, we don't have a magic 8-ball, but Aoife O'Callaghan has been fairly bang on with her summations to date. As we approach kick-off here, there's a bit of a laugh and a joke amongst the players. Cooke RFC will be playing in the red, white and black strip from left to right in the first half. Ballincollig will be in black, as the referee has a quiet conversation to get over the formals. Reasonable crowd here this afternoon in Tanner Park, 5 p.m. Saturday Night Lights, Energy All-Ireland League on Irish Rugby TV. The ball in the hands of Amanda Morton.
We are good to go.
And we're underway. Tanner Park, a low kick fielded. We heard Helen Brosnan and Colin Finnegan speaking about the breakdown, and certainly no love lost. Aoife O'Callaghan said that a team would be out for blood, and certainly in the breakdown early doors, it's a knock on there, and it's a turnover.
Oh, good break from Cooke.
They're on the way through me. Good carry again there. Cooke moving the ball again. Ilse Van Staden, the tight end, a big game in Dundalk in the Energia All-Ireland League Women's Final, and the referee says there's offside from Ballincollig early doors, and a decent start there from Cooke.
Oh, big time. I think, as I said, like, it was going to be physical from them from the outset. Like, they have something to prove here, so they're taking no prisoners, as one would say.
Michelle O'Driscoll will send us into the corner. An early statement of intent from this Cooke side. They can hear Colin Finnegan, whose mic I can assure you we've taken off him from the pre-match interviews.
I can also confirm that.
He is fully 80 metres on the other side, and
still hear him.
Cooke will have an opportunity from this line out. The set piece, as it has been all season under Colin Finnegan, has been in the high percentiles. just trying to take a little bit of the sting out of the game early doors. Aoife, perhaps. Cooke taking their time at set piece.
Yeah, some really big carries early on, so I'd say they're just trying to catch their breath for a moment.
They go towards the middle of the line out. It's just tapped back there by Vice Captain Cara O'Kane. Cooke going the slow route as Ballincollig try and counter at the base of the ruck. Captain through Gemma McCamley. Carries again and eking through the yards. Cooke again around the corner. Through Stacey Sloan. That little unders carry again. Ballincollig will need to get lower in the tackle here. Van Staten again. Been a prolific carrier. And Van Staten, very, very difficult to stop. Round the corner again. Go Cooke. The ball has moved through the hands. It's in the hands of fullback Laura Cairns. Resourcing the breakdown very well. Looking for options again at 9. Looking very ominous here for Ballincollig as Cooke go. Georgia Boyce demanding her forwards work hard. Carry again. They're very close to the line. Referee says they are short again. Boyce at the base. Calls in the artillery. McCamley, the captain, goes through to her hooker, Megan Simpson. It's been all Cooke here in this opening 3 minutes in Tanner Park. Van Staten again, number 3 in the back, and that's 3 carries in as many minutes. Driven back, but it's the second row. Ellen Patterson, very close to the line. The referee has a little look and says, play on. Ball is over the line, but the referee has said that it looks like a potential double movement there. And Cooke, Aoife O'Callaghan will be very disappointed in Ballincollig. In equal measures would be breathing a sigh of relief.
Oh, big time. That was a big missed opportunity there for them, you know, being that close to the line. But they're really showing their tenacity, in fairness to them, Cooke even. And yeah, just some really big carries off the bat. I think it might have startled Ballincollig maybe a little bit, like they didn't seem as set, but you can never tell. These first 10 minutes are always tend to be kind of, you need to let them settle and whatnot. Jane
Pennyfather, as you'll see in the very right corner of your shot there, getting a little bit of attention. One thing that Helen Brosnan perhaps won't be happy with, Aoife, in early doors, is soaked tackles in defence, allowing Cooke to get easy yards there.
Yeah, big time. Like you saw with the Eels, like she was well able to carry there, and I think she did. I like that. She sucked so many people in.
No touch found by Pennyfather. Tia Maguire goes very well. Little tip on again, Van Staden. You get the feeling we're going to be saying that name an awful lot this afternoon. Carried again by the back rower, Stacey Sloan. Good continuity here. Nice little short dummy line there, and the ball goes out the back. Amanda Morton misses Tara O'Neill. Ballincollig try and get up in the line. Potentially looked like a small bit of a high shot, and the referee says it was nothing overly malicious there. But Cooke playing with some real intent and moving the ball through sets of hands.
Yeah, they're kind of not afraid to take the contact as well. So they're really just trying to gain that ground, try to tire out all of Ballincollig by kind of the looks of it. They seem to be really committing to each of the rucks and each of the tackles. You know, they're not kind of one-upping. So Cooke seem to kind of have slight upper hand at the moment. Kelly Griffin, I think, has come on there for Jane Pennyfather. I think maybe bloody nose now or something by the looks of things down along. But yeah, Ballincollig, Kelly Griffin is on, who I played with in UCC way back when.
Tara O'Neill finds touch. Cooke elected to go towards the middle of the line out in the last set piece. Cara O'Kane was the target with 2 quick carries around the corner. You get the feeling that Cooke may try and go the same again, but the referee says that the throw was not straight, and we'll have our first scrum of the afternoon. Looked a little bit harsh there again, but Aoife, Ballincollig will be breathing a sigh of relief because it's been all Cooke in the opening 6 minutes.
Yeah, big time. And this will be Collig's opportunity now off set piece to kind of get the ball back to themselves and see if they can run it up the wing, I suppose, because a lot of it's been a lot of forward work, I'd say, from Cooke. But again, they're trying to looks like they're trying to tire out Collig kind of from the get-go.
Conditions, dare I say, near on perfect at this moment in time, bar the conditions underfoot.
Yeah.
Much discussions amongst our broadcast team today, but it's try for now. It's a wonderful break there by Tia Singwenza, the captain, getting great yards, finding her winger Bridget Toohey on the right hand side, and the flag has gone up Decent little break there from Ballincollig. We can see a person that you would name, Tiara Seguenza, a serious athlete and clean pair of heels there.
Oh, big time, and she's just so athletic. You know, for her forward, she's not afraid to take the step, take the ball on, and she's got the pace for it as well. You know, I've played against her a couple of times when she played for one of the teams down west, I'm really sure. And she's a fantastic player.
Aoife O'Callaghan in dangerous territory, saying that forwards can't sidestep in the first 10 minutes.
I play flanker now, so
of this energy.
I'm a forward now too.
Stop-start nature of the game. Ballincollig will look to move the ball. We saw a statement of intent, as we said, through Singuenza carrying from the base of the scrum. Cooke in the line out, try and get up, but it's a great take from Aoife Madigan. The open side, the ball has just spilled backwards. As scrum half, Gemma Lane looked really sharp in the warm-up. Ballincollig absolutely hammered back in that carry close to the ruck, going back into where all the heavy forwards are. They go again. Might have been a slight bit of crossing there, but referee says they'll play on. Good contest again from Cooke at the breakdown, but Ballincollig trying to move down that blind side and manipulate the defence. Ball again squirts back. Might have been a little chip through, but again it's recycled, and Ballincollig go again very scrappy as their halfbacks call for calm. Lane again throws it out, but that ball just slightly dropped by the replacement blood sub Kelly Griffin. Not the first touch you would have wanted, Aoife, but again we see the intent from Cooke's defence getting off the line, really putting Ballincollig under pressure. Yeah,
100%. They're really trying to swallow them up kind of straight off the back. I think they kind of look like they probably have the heavier forwards ever so slightly. So there's just that confidence there that they're just trying to mill them really more than anything.
There's a real intent though, as there's a break in play, to see that from the scrum and the line out that Ballincollig are not intent on kicking any loose ball to Cooke early doors. We've seen through Singuenza at the break, and we've seen their intent to actually play no matter where they are in the pitch, which is refreshing to see.
Yeah, they're really trying to keep it in hand, and you can even see from any kind of the central play, they're really trying to get it out that wing, but it just doesn't seem to be moving as fluidly for them, I'd say, as that they're used to. But that could also be like that, you know, the pressure of Cooke being up in their face kind of straight off the bat.
As the refreshments come in the first 10 minutes, who do you think between Helen Brosnan of Ballincollig and Colin Finnegan of Cooke would be the happier of the two coaches?
I think Colin so far. I don't think she'd be too disappointed in them. I think, as I said, you know, you always need those first 10 minutes to just kind of get a feel for everything, but I don't know, did they expect maybe Cooke to come out of the blocks as fast as they did, that they maybe went into a bit of a panic, and just like that, once you start panicking, you get kind of sucked in and you're straight into, I have to tackle this person, and then there's four people tackling one person, which is not ideal when Cooke then have the width and stuff. But then Cooke haven't been using their width, it's just been one up, smash, smash, smash. So, do you know how long will that last as well? So it's definitely an interesting
80 minutes, you'd imagine, if Colin Finnegan gets his way on that front. As we said for the first scrum of the game, ball in the hands of Georgia Boyce, Amanda Morton at 10 with Tia O'Neill, but the referee says on the loose head side of Ella Garland that the scrum went down, and that's one love in favour of Ciara Fleming, Aoife Fleming and Claire Coombs over Ella Garland, Megan Simpson and Ilse Van Staten. And Ballincollig miraculously in over 10 minutes of rugby haven't got outside of their half even with that penalty, but still the score remains scoreless.
Yeah, I don't think any of us kind of expected that. You know, not to put anything against Cooke. I think we expected Ballincollig to be dominant out of the blocks, and I don't want to say they haven't been, but it just, they haven't seemed to have found a game that suits them yet, in a sense. So they're still trying to, I suppose, suss Cooke out a little bit.
Fleming with a lovely dart finds Megan Kenny at the tail. The ball is thrown back, but again, that little mishap again, and the scrappy nature of the game, particularly being away from home. You hear coaches saying next job from the other side, and Cooke will be delighted with all the mistakes from the pressure they're putting under Ballincollig.
Yeah, it seems that their backline just doesn't seem to be kind of fitting at the moment. You know, it's, I don't know, is it unfortunately like Kelly Griffin stepping in, maybe that they're a bit out of sync a little bit than what they usually are. but they don't seem as fluid as you'd expect them to be.
Boyce has Morton and O'Neill flat on her shoulder. The break is through the captain McCamley, and McCamley goes straight through. Does two captains clash there, and Cooke look really in the groove here as the ball moves to Laura Cairns, goes outside to Tia Maguire. Cooke's breakdown work looks so comfortable with the ball in hand, carried through. Cara O'Kane to arriving her every ruck, and it's a great line there by Stacey Sloan again. But the referee signals that double movement on the ground. Once both knees and elbows hit the ground, the ball must be placed, and Sloan guilty of crawling a little small bit, but we speak about them getting into their groove there. Aoife and Cooke look really, really comfortable with ball in hand.
They really do, in fairness. They really seem to spot the gaps as well. Like, you can see clear as day that they're not afraid to take the step in rather than the step out and stuff. So they're really challenging Colleague from the looks of things at the moment.
Ballincollig, again, the ground staff will be very happy with one side of the pitch not being used in this opening 13 minutes, but the other half of the pitch is being overworked. It's Ballincollig. It goes out over the top, but it's well taken by Laura Lee Baker. And ball is stripped, but play on. Ballincollig showing adventure by playing in their 22. Good footwork there by outside centre Alison Kelly. Cooke trying to counter ruck as it's picked again by Gemma Lane. Ballincollig with one out runners here, but happy enough to play as Griffin gets the ball in hand and finds the high flyer on the wing. Good continuity play by Ballincollig. Full back Sinead O'Reilly. Cooke may have went a little bit early there, but good carry again. The referee has advantage. The hand out for offside by Cooke, and Ballincollig have an opportunity to play here, but scrum half Lane decides to send the ball over the top, and we'll come back for a penalty. First little glimmer of attack that we've seen from Ballincollig, and it's taken 14 minutes.
And it doesn't seem cohesive just yet. I think there's been a couple of kind of Hail Mary throws here and there, and I just, when you're not used to Ballincollig kind of doing that, you're kind of standing there being like, what are they actually up to? And I don't know, is it just because, like you said there, Cooke are shooting off their line straight off the bat? Are they just panicking and just trying to throw away the ball as much as they can? But they really need to start settling into this, or it mightn't go their way.
Alison Kelly, right-footed, brings the Cork side into Cooke's half for the first time in this game. The line-out has been a little bit of a lottery there, but Ballincollig, when they look back in this game in the opening 14 minutes, will be happy considering how less of the ball they've had that they haven't conceded. Yeah,
and you know what, their defence has been good. It's strange not seeing them, I suppose, commit to rucks even in on a defensive, they're not defending their rucks, which is a strange thing to see.
Fleming finds Laura Lee Baker again, unorthodox, but Ballincollig won't mind as long as they have the ball in hand. Lane finds Griffin. Cooke again shooting off that line. Good D. And slow ball for Ballincollig again. It's picked by Gillian Coombs. Out to Fleming. But the flag goes up there again. Short side attack. Aoife, it seems like Ballincollig have potentially seen something on the video on Cooke during the week. They're manipulating defence, but Cooke so far standing up to the test.
Yeah, and you can see they're not committing to any of their rucks either. They're not counter-rucking, so they're trying to stay that flat line man up that they do have, that they can rush straight off the line the minute that ball is picked. So I think they're kind of making Colleague panic a little bit by the looks of things. Nothing seems to be kind of, I don't want to say working, it's a bit extreme, but they haven't settled at all yet.
Megan Simpson has the ball in hand. McCamley, the dummy jumper. The referee gives a free kick, and rightfully so, as Ballincollig jumped before the ball was in the early lift. Good signalling from the officials.
It's strange because Ballincollig team seems like the one they've kind of gone out with week in, week out. So the fact it's not kind of seemed to be slotting for them, especially at home, I think is very, very odd to see.
Georgia Boyce has the ball at the base and finds McCamley, the captain, knows one way, and that's forward. Round the corner again, good carry. by the Cooke forwards, and the ball is adjudged to have been held on there, and Ballincollig will play through Sloan. Good carry again by Claire Coombs. Fleming out the back, Griffin through 2 sets of hands. It's well read by Amanda Morton, the out half for Cooke. Griffin again, that shooter in the line can be seen. No work on the inside is allowing Ballincollig showing better endeavour attack-wise there, and that's the Ballincollig we're used to seeing, Aoife.
Yeah, it's a bit more bite in them, I think, than what we've seen in the first 15 or so minutes, which is good to see, brightens up the game a little bit. But as you said, you can see the shooters coming up from Cooke, they're not afraid to kind of get stuck in and defend that ball.
Little laugh and a joke. All the dark arts forwards trying to get that extra minute's rest before the scrum.
The old
Sets
tactical knees and all that jazz.
the first scrum of the game. So Ella Garland penalised on the Lucid side against Claire Coombs for going down. And we will reset on the scrum as Ciara Fleming and Ilse Van Staden asking each other about what they're doing on Saturday evening. Referee comes over to the other side. We will endeavour to bring you news on Jane Pennefather. It looked like a blood substitution, but as it stands, Kelly Griffin is standing in that out half position for Ballincollig. As Georgia Boyce feeds the scrum. Ballincollig putting that scrum under real pressure. And the referee has adjudged that Ballincollig illegally turned that scrum, and McCamley, the captain, getting invaluable yards for our side, brings them just short of the halfway line. And Boyce finds Patterson to Morton, and O'Neill carries well, but it's met with a big tackle by Ballincollig, which will allow time for that defensive line to set, and both sides showing plenty of skills early doors as the ball goes out wide for Cooke, and it's in the hands of Katie Gilmore on that wing. Ballincollig slow to set up their defence, and the ball is juggled by tight head Claire Coombs, and after that wonderful break by McCamley, Ballincollig can get their breath and will restart with a scrum.
Really good phase play from Cooke. They seem to, looking at both backlines, they seem to set their backline up, I think, slightly deeper and slightly maybe more uniform than I think Colleague are kind of doing at the moment. They seem to, off set play anyway, they seem to stay very flat, which I don't think is kind of standing to them at the moment by the looks of things.
Cooke looking very cohesive in the opening 20 minutes here in Tanner Park, still scoreless, but you get the feeling that Cooke could click, and Ballincollig have shown that they can also do it, and it's a lovely little show and go. The 8-9-15 works a treat as Gemma Lane carries well, and the ball illegally stripped in contact, and Ballincollig getting real change out of that blindside attack.
Yeah, I think it's really starting to suit them. I think they're spotting that little bit of a gap and they're just kind of going for it. They're not afraid to kind of put their bodies on the line for it, just to gain those couple of extra yards, which they need, really.
There's a little stoppage in play here as player receives treatment, but we speak about Cooke being a cohesive unit in the first 20 minutes. We can see the ball going through 3-4 sets of hands, really stressing that Ballincollig defence, but the real feature of Ballincollig and the real feature of the games has been both eights through Tiara Seguenza of Ballincollig and of Gemma McCamley, both captains, really shining in this opening 20 minutes.
Yeah, Tiara especially, as I said, she's not afraid to take that ball on and step, as they say, forward can step. And she's just so she has the pace on her to just kind of keep running, and there's no tiring her out, really. Really stepping up to the plate so far.
Indeed, as we said last week, Suttonians were on the losing side against Ballincollig, 22-0 in the JJ McDonald Memorial Grounds. Cooke RFC with that narrow final defeat on January 27th and a difficult 29-5 defeat. But a decent opening 20 minutes here, Aoife.
Yeah, it's been really interesting, really enjoyable to watch. I think at the same time, like, I think we were hoping not to write anyone off, and I think Cooke have really stepped up to the plate, in fairness to them. They just seem a little more uniform than Ballincollig at the moment, which I think would surprise, I'd say, people watching in general. But yeah, I think it's definitely an interesting 60 minutes left, for sure. I think it's from outside sources. A shout out to Christine O'Keefe, who has a sister who's involved with Ballincollig, who plays with me. Ballincollig have said beforehand that they weren't writing off Cooke, and that it was always going to be a tough contest.
And indeed it has been. Alison Kelly has found touch inside the 22, and they find open side Aoife Madigan. That maul is set up. Seguenza again, met by Sloan. Ballincollig forwards resource the ruck as Lane finds Griffin, winger on the inside. Good pass to Kelly there again. Good continuity play. Winger on the outside. There's a chance here for Ballincollig in the corner to go through Bridget Tuig, and it may have taken 21 minutes, but it's a wonderful opening score for Ballincollig here in Tanner Park. And Aoife O'Callaghan, what a score by Bridget Tuig.
Oh, brilliant. It seems like they finally got that backline going. I think that's what's probably not been sitting with them these last kind of 20 or so minutes. That, like, once that backline does get going, they find the space and they're straight through.
As we see on the replay there, wonderful maul through Ballincollig and good continuity play. And important, Kelly Griffin had a couple of shaky moments early doors, but looks really assured in that role in the last 10 or so minutes.
Yeah, and I think that's going to do wonders for her confidence. You know, getting thrown into a position like that so early on, you do kind of need your couple of minutes to settle. So the fact now she's played part in that try and kind of she's made her one or two mistakes, but she's been able to kind of come back from that is fantastic to see, and hopefully it'll stand to her then for the rest of the game if she does have to stay on, which by the looks of it, I'd say time wise there's a possibility there, because it doesn't look like anyone's getting treatment on the sideline.
No shot clock here in Tanner Park, but the beloved Ballincollig supporters in the left hand corner absolutely delighted to see Bridget Tuig score the opening try, as Alison Kelly's conversion stays short, so that leaves the score 5-0 in favour of Ballincollig after 23 minutes. And the try, Aoife, was worth the wait?
Oh, I think so, yeah. I think that's definitely looking more like Colleague style, and I think knowing that they can take it in the wings, maybe they've figured out how to set their backline now, that they can do that a couple more times. But then again as well, it's Cooke now keeping the eye on the wing. You know, will they not contest rucks as much now as try and stay wide? It'd be interesting how they set themselves up defensively.
Helen Brosnan and her coaching staff will no doubt be delighted. One trip to the Cooke 22 yields in a try, as the kick-off is a scrappy one to deal with for Ballincollig, but the ball is carried through Gillian Coombs, and the shooters for Cooke are offside yet again, as Ciara Fleming carries, but the referee has went offside, and that's a frustrating few moments for Cooke there, Aoife, giving Ballincollig easy field position through another offside.
Yeah, just a really silly mistake. I know mistakes happen and everything, but you know, I think maybe they're getting a little too eager on that like front line kind of shoot up, that they need to kind of wash themselves, because if you do that too many times, who knows what could happen from that. So they need to keep that pressure there, but you can't constantly be giving away offsides.
And the right boot of Alison Kelly just about finds touch, just shy of the 10 metre line for Ballincollig. A beautifully still evening, which nobody predicted, as the floodlights
not after
are on
this morning
in Tanner Park. Aoife Fleming, the hooker, out over the top, but referee says that the ball wasn't straight. Cooke putting pressure on the line out. And we've seen Aoife, if Cooke can get into field position, which they were in the first 15 minutes of the game, that they can stress this Ballincollig team. So if they can cut out deal discipline, they stand every chance of getting back into this game.
100%, yeah. Like, I think they're really explosive when they're in attack. Even now, it is mostly from their forwards. They're not kind of using their backline as much. But, you know, like I said, tire at Ballincollig, see how you get on. Come second half, who knows, you can send your wingers flying at that stage then.
Ilse Van Staten gives the call to Megan Simpson. McCamley again, the dummy jumper at the front as they go towards the middle of the line-out, but it's Laura Lee Baker who gets the turnover, and Ballincollig look to play off turnover, and Griffin goes outside to Kelly. Good carry by Kelly, has been to the fore of all things good for Ballincollig in his opening 25 minutes, as Griffin Lovely hands by the try scorer, Bridget Tuig again finds open hands, finds scrum half on the inside line. There's Gemma Lane. Ballincollig getting into the groove in the 22 is loose head Ciara Fleming. Carries very well. Cooke trying very hard at that breakdown as Lane moves it to the right. It's carried by Laura Lee Baker. Started the attack from the stolen line out, but it looks to have been knocked on. And Cooke's loose head Ella Garland moves forward. And the referee says that Ballincollig were holding, and it looks like it was Megan Kenny with a wonderful turnover there. And Ballincollig, if they do wish to go for the points, will have an opportunity to stretch their lead by 3. A meeting of the minds being had. Calls of scrum. This is where real leadership, I suppose, Aoife, has to come into it, because in the grander scheme of things, the captain should realistically be making the call here.
Yeah, 100%. And I think it's the best call to make. You know, getting your backline kind of set, getting set piece in, it'll really, I think, stand to Ballincollig. I think they might want to. This is where they will. You know, just having keep hold of that ball, keep the ball in hand straight off the bat, and allow them to set up a backline that like will stand to them, so they're not kind of panicking. You know, off say a tap and go off a line out like that, especially if the line outs haven't suited them.
Goes blind through the captain Seguenza, finds Lane, who's got sharp distribution to full back Sinead O'Reilly, and O'Reilly is well marshalled by the Cooke defence as the play is about 10 metres in from that right hand side touchline. Kerry again by Gillian Coombs. It's been brilliant. Lane snipes there from the base of the ruck, finds a little offload there, and going to be the second try of the afternoon from inside centre, Michelle O'Driscoll. And wonderful play, and what do we know? The call of the scrum, the right call, and it's yielded another try.
Yeah, 100%. And I think, look, even looking at their forwards, you know, taking the ball into contact, taking those couple of steps, gaining as many metres as possible, I think is going to be crucial for Ballincollig. You know, like they don't seem to be committing too many people to the ruck, getting that ball out fast, and then like that having an explosive centre just firing on through, spotting that gap.
Just a word on Gemma Lane, Aoife, her ability to snipe from the scrum. Having Seguenza at 8, you called it before the game, and it was a little bit unlike Ballincollig, but they seem to firmly be in the mood and the groove, and their some scintillating attack has yielded 2 tries.
Yeah, and I think as well, you know, to have a 9 that's not afraid to do that. You know, there's so many times that 9s might feel like they have to hide behind the ruck, that they mightn't have that confidence. So to see Lane have confidence like that, to be able to spot the gap and just go for it, is really great to see.
The score here in Tanner Park, as the conversion is lined up by the try scorers centre partner Alison Kelly, 10 points to 0. Kelly strikes well, just under the crossbar in that instance, so the score will remain 10 points to 0 as we approach the half hour mark. And it's a funny old game, Aoife, as the cliche goes. 2 trips to the 22 for Ballincollig have yielded in 2 tries, and Cooke, with all their early pressure and possession, still remain scoreless.
Yeah, I think, you know, like Ballincollig nearly come alive once they get into that into Cooke's 22. So I think that's probably where they're going to try and camp out from now on. But like that, like Cooke aren't to be written off just yet, I think. You know, I think it's still very much early doors, and it's all to play for.
Absolutely. On that front, as Amanda Morton right-footed the ball, bounces 10. Claims from both sides that the ball was touched, but the referee says it will be a line out to Ballincollig. And undoubtedly, as they have done through second rows, Patterson and O'Kane, Cooke will look to challenge this Ballincollig line out. Aoife Fleming has the ball in hand. Ballincollig in absolutely no rush here. The call is given by Claire Coombs. Fleming, lovely line out, goes towards the back, finding Megan Kenny, and it's a hard line. Ellie Curnan in acres of space out in that right hand touchline. As Lane finds Griffin. Griffin goes out the back again to find Megan Kenny. Has got through a tremendous amount of work in the first 30 minutes. But Cooke doing well to slow the ball. Lane again. Griffin zips the pass out. Nice little unders line. with Cooke so far defensively standing up to the test, and it seems like they're a lot more disciplined, not sending shooters off the line, aiding Ballincollig to get easy field position. Again, the carry by Kenny. Lane to Griffin, stand and pass, and a nice little inside break and offload there by Coombs, and Coombs decides to dink it in behind, but the right call is a forward pass called by the touch judge on this near side. But wonderful enterprise play and forwards and backs linking. Helen Brosnan will be very happy with the last 15 minutes or so from her side.
Yeah, and even it's very obvious Cooke are playing their defence really, really tight. Like out here we had 3 or 4 wide open on the wing there, you know, so Cooke are really trying to keep their defence kind of midfield and then spanning out one wing rather than the entire field. So that's definitely opening up spaces for Ballincollig. So it's just trying to get the ball out to those wings is most important for them. Just trying to get it out past that kind of centre channel, which they seem to, I don't want to say struggle with, but there's been a couple of hospital Hail Mary passes here and there. So it's just making sure they start nailing them so that they don't just give away easy possession.
In nearly 32 minutes of play, you would have got decent odds on tight head Claire Coombs being the first person to kick the ball in open play between Ballincollig and Cooke, but full value for the kick and entertainment. It has been refreshing to see both sides, Aoife, in terms of their attack. Both sets of forwards showing a high level of skill, being able to link with their backs. Yeah,
and it's been really fluid as well. Like there's been no kind of mismatch or no carry when they weren't supposed to be carrying. It all seems very, very uniform.
Cooke make a change. Ella Garland rolling substitutions, and she is replaced by number 17 Isabella Harris, as Georgia Boyce has the ball in hand. Cooke loaded on this open left hand side. Boyce has Morton outside her. Morton goes outside to the 13 channel. It's a lovely little pass there outside in the blindside winger. Tamsin Boyce on the move here. This is a wonderful solo run by Boyce, and Cooke in the 22 for the first time in quite a while. Forwards stepping up to the plate as Morton again finds the inside centre. Tara O'Neill, good carry. Cooke have done well in this instance, and it's another big carry there by Cara O'Kane. Ballincollig have infringed, and there is advantage to be played here as Cooke take their time. Carry by Stacey Sloan, the number 6, hugely physical player for Cooke. It's those close in carries again that we saw so much change given, but the referee says held up, and we will come back for a penalty. What a break for Tamsin Boyce down that left hand touchline. We'll get to that in a few moments time. There's Cooke players remonstrating with each other to get the ball out to the mark to potentially take a quick penalty. And after all that, the decision is yet to be made, but electrifying break there by Boyce, Aoife.
Big time. And I think as well, just from watching them just in general, I think Cooke tend to keep everything very, very tight. You know, like they try to keep everything basically where the ball kind of is. Like I'm seeing a load of space down this right wing with one of their wingers, and it's kind of just, it's not being utilised. Tap
by Cooke, and it's the captain. It's in the hands of McCamley. She's just short. Cindy Cancino, the replacement. Ballincollig doing well defensively. Cancino again has the ball at the base, gives it to Sloan. Really good in close quarters is Sloan, but again she is repelled by the Ballincollig defence. Ilse Van Staden has it at the base, a little bit high in the carry, and the captain Seguenze does well. There's hands from both sides into it as Morton has it, goes out the back. Boyce, the full back Cairns, steps on the inside, just finds a soft shoulder as Boyce again outside centre. Tia Maguire, knees are down, so the tackle is completed there. The referee says that was high there, as Morton says let's go, let's have a quick tap and go. Surely not 10 there, as Tia Maguire is there. Boyce carries again, fairly frantic in the 22 here at the moment, as the hooker Megan Simpson tries to get in on the act. Morton again, little show and go, good carry again. Tara O'Neill agonisingly short. Wonderful defence, it must be said, for the time being, as Ilse Van Staden is not going to be stopped. And it's the first score of the afternoon for Cooke through Ilse Van Staden. And as we said, Aoife, when Cooke RFC get into those positions, they needed to score, and they did just that.
Yeah, and I think as well, there was maybe a couple of missed opportunities to go out wide. They seem to be playing that game very, very tight and very, very maybe forward reliant, which is great, obviously, if it's working for them, but how long will they be able to sustain that is the other question. But really great for them to get a score on the board.
Indeed. As Amanda Morton has a chat with the referee. The try by Ilse Van Staten after 36 minutes here in Tanner Park makes it 10 points to 5, and Colin Finnegan will be very happy with that attack there, Aoife, because in the first 10 minutes or so Cooke did the exact same thing twice and came away with nothing, and it's important, particularly as we reach the halfway point, that they get points on the board.
I think it was deserved, Joe. They've been, in fairness to them, they've been really aggressive. Even when they've been, say, up past their own halfway and then back in their own 22, they've really kind of stepped up to the plate. So it's great that they've kind of gotten something to show for it now at this stage.
Words of wisdom from Gemma McCamley. Off screen is Amanda Morton. Lines up right-footed. Strikes well, but just short, so the score will remain 10 points to 5 here in Tanner Park in this Energia All-Ireland League women's fixture. Ballincollig, who were slow out of the blocks with tries through Bridget Tuig and Michelle O'Driscoll, both unconverted, and Ilse Van Staten's response for Cooke leaves it delicately poised as we head towards the half-time break.
Definitely makes things interesting again, though. You wouldn't want anyone to kind of run away with it from the get-go. You want these games to be tight. You want them to be interesting.
Alison Kelly kicks it high into the Tanner Park sky, finds ground as McCamley. A joy to watch with ball in hand. McCamley gets another few yards for a Cooke side. Boyce finds Sloan. The ball is stripped by loosehead Ciara Fleming, and no release in the ground. You say you're most susceptible to scores just after you scored yourself, and we've seen case in point there.
Yeah, I just think, silly mistakes from Cooke again. Like, unfortunate more than anything. But they're so aggressive, especially like they're not like Colleague, like they're not afraid to take those few steps into contact as well, which is good to see.
Right-footed Alison Kelly finds a good touch just outside the Cooke 22. We've seen the first try on the other side of the pitch through a line out and a move across the field. Ballincollig not afraid to play, as you said, Aoife, in the half, so it will be interesting to see whether or not they decide to maul on this front. They're in no rush through Claire Coombs to give the call to Aoife Fleming. Aoife Madigan has been the preferred target, with Laura Lee Baker cleaning up at the back of the line out. As Madigan, the referee is given a crooked throw, or dummy throw on that front, excuse me. And Cooke have elected on a scrum. And as much as Cooke will have been very disappointed in the opening 15 minutes, Aoife, Ballincollig and Helen Brosnan will be very, very disappointed not to at least have another opportunity after their third visit to the 22, preceding that with 2 scores.
A couple of just silly mistakes. The lineouts don't seem to be working for Colleague at all at the moment. The overthrows seem to sit kind of nicely for them, but you can't guarantee that for every single lineout. So they just don't seem to be sitting down for them at all, which is kind of surprising.
Boyce feeds, but referee says that Ilse Van Staten, the try scorer, an early engagement. Referee has been consistent throughout the first half, and Gemma Lane has the ball in hand. It's got Claire Coombs outside. Coombs carries, and Coombs gets a rather easy 10 or so yards. Boyce again to Baker, to Fleming. Fleming with a little show and go and sidesteps as the forward, just short of the line is Fleming. Lane, it's a good carry again through Coombs. Can she get the hands free? Cooke do quite well, but don't roll there. Masters of the dark arts there, probably had to be done with no roll. And Lane has the ball in hand, trying to up the pace here for Ballincollig. She's got Fleming to her left, Baker to her right. Baker carries, Cooke get off the line, and it's good D by Captain McCamley. Lane again calls in the reinforcements, and it's Coombs again with a pick and go, and Coombs is very close to the line there, Referee positioned perfectly behind, making sure Cooke stay on side, and it's the close hitting carries again. But good D from Cooke, slowing the ball, allowing them to set the line as Lane goes through Griffin. Nice little inside line there by Michelle O'Driscoll, already one try to her name in more or less the same spot as she landed there. Aoife Fleming, the hooker, with good yards. Cooke tackling with it. Coombs again out the back to Griffin, bounce pass to O'Driscoll, and it's a lovely little pass out the back to Sinead O'Reilly, and wonderful patience has yielded their third try of the afternoon. Aoife, Ballincollig firmly in control here.
Yeah, I think they're really starting to kick into gear at this stage, and they're really starting to see where the gaps are. They're seeing that space, so they're really, because they know, like we've seen now how narrow Cooke are defending, that they know that once they suck those 2 or 3 players in doing a one up, they're going to have the gaps out the side. So it's just get that ball out as fast as possible. Thankfully the ball went the right way for Kelly Griffin in that little bit of a bounce, because that could have gone a whole other direction. So yeah, once that bounce landed nicely, straight out to the full back and over they go.
A wonderful acknowledgement of when to move the ball wide in the 22. We see at all levels of the game sometimes teams get white line fever and try the carries in, they get held up, but particularly through the halfbacks, Gemma Lane there and Kelly Griffin showed really good knowledge and bided their time to get the score in the corner.
Yeah, very well timed, in fairness to them. They went exactly, like they had 2 or 3 more players still on the sideline, so you know there was space still there for them.
Alison Kelly's conversion goes wide left, so the score as we reach half time is 15 points to 5 in favour of Ballincollig. Aoife, give us a general summary of that half.
It's been a lot tighter than I think we probably expected coming into this. You know, I think Cooke have definitely stepped up in many ways, but for Cooke now it's very much how much will they be able to sustain this. You know, they're very, like especially in defence, they're very dominant in their, or reliant on their forwards and keeping that narrow channel kind of cut off. So it's, have Ballincollig spotted this now, and will they just go one up and start shooting out their wings then, or will Cooke kind of, I suppose, cop on and start using their width? Because they're also, like, when they're in attack, they are sucking in Ballincollig ever so slightly, but then they're also just like, they're exhausting themselves hitting up, you know, like when there's literally ringers screaming on the wing. So it'll be an interesting second half for sure.
We will be back shortly for the second half. 15 points to 5, Ballincollig lead here in Tanner Park. You're very welcome back to Tanner Park for the second half of this Energia All-Ireland League women's fixture. Ballincollig leading 15 points to 5 against the Cooke side, who have had more than their fair share of possession in the first half, but failed to cover into points. The half-time refreshments have been had as Ballincollig reset through Kelly, find Stacey Sloan, wonderful carry by Sloan. Words of the coaches shining through. Direct game by Cooke again. Another good carry. And they're 50 plus metres gained through 2 carries. Ball well held. The reintroduction of Ella Garland there on the rolling substitutions, but Ciara Fleming looks to be over that ball. Referee says didn't quite get the pick on it. Ilse Van Staten, the try scorer. Good carry again there. Bounces off the first would-be tackler of Ballincollig, as the players are trapped in there, but the referee says that Ballincollig were legally over the ball and that Ilse Van Staten was holding. Decent start in the second half there. Aoife, Cooke coming out like a house on fire.
Yeah, straight out of the blocks. Do you know, like some brilliant carries. I think maybe our Ballincollig maybe going too high in their tackles, that they're not kind of just aiming low and getting them down, letting them gain those yards.
Lane finds the replacement, Kirsty Jordan, and Jordan getting caught on the ground. So anything Ballincollig can do, Cooke can do better, as they get another turnover penalty, and 2 in the first 70 seconds of the second half is more than we had in the first half. Yeah, maybe a feature of things to come. We spoke or heard Helen Brosnan, speak about how prolific Cooke were at the breakdown and how they needed to arrive at the breakdown, as Cooke missed touch there, and Ballincollig carry forward. Real testament to both sides trying to play rugby in the conditions and not kicking, as Griffin again with wonderful footwork finds a soft shoulder. The referee wants to have a quick word with Van Staten here about the breakdown, perhaps a tackle before that, and we'll have a carbon copy penalty for the breakdown, as everyone tries to catch a breath at the start of the second half. It's at the feet of Gemma Lane. Lane finds Laura Lee Baker out the back to Griffin. Griffin goes out wide. It's a good hit there by Cooke on the right hand side. The replacement, Kirsty Jackson, again good yards by the carry. Little offload there, but yet another penalty here, and it's a little bit scrappy in the early exchanges in the second half here, Aoife.
Cooke are looking really tenacious. I think there's a bit more bite in them, I think, coming into this half, that they have something to prove, and that because they've gotten down onto that try line once, I think they're definitely going to try and get in there again.
O'Driscoll right footed, doesn't quite find touch. It's well fielded, and scrum half Gemma Lane decides we'll think it in behind, as Ballincollig and chase, and a kick rebuttal there by Cooke. Sinead O'Reilly, the try scorer, ball in 2 hands, tries to get outside, well marshalled by Morton, the 10 for Cooke. That's the outside half on the wing there. Good carry again by Aoife Madigan. Ball playing flat to the line. Griffin looks like to be a permanent change as Laura Lee Baker finds Michelle O'Driscoll, and Ballincollig on the move here. Ball is well fielded by Sinead O'Reilly. Ellie Kernan and O'Reilly wearing the same red sleeves as Laura Lee Baker. Wonderful continuity play here. Fleming again, the hooker with the carry. The pace being upped here as Griffin finds Alison Kelly. The outside centre has been very elusive in contact today. Ellie Kernan makes another carry there again, as Lane finds Aoife Fleming. Incredible carrying statistics by Fleming. Only 44 minutes into the game and probably nearing double figures. As good continuity play again. Ball goes out the back. O'Reilly just goes in behind Bridget Tuig, the try scorer. And what a frantic 4.5 minutes or so in the second half, Aoife.
Yeah, it feels like they're kind of panicking a little bit again, Ballincollig. I think they just need to kind of catch their breath. ever so slightly and not just be throwing the ball away for just the sake of it. I think they've been really good in their offloading, especially popping it up from the ground, which I think is going to stand to them. But I do think once it kind of starts coming outside your outside centre, it does need to kind of not be as just throwing for the sake of throwing it, really, and just lobbing it. You know, I think they need to get that bullet pass going to get out the wing where that space is.
Cooke restart through the line out, taken cleanly by the captain, McCamley, at 2. Ballincollig do their best to stifle any Maul attack, and it's slow ball for Cooke. They look to go forward, but Ballincollig swarming defensively. They look to be on that ball, and they are there. And it's a great turnover by Laura Lee Baker. And Ballincollig are off on the run through Gemma Lane there again. She's really been the catalyst for the speed of attack for Ballincollig, the replacement.
Just no fear of her.
Ciara Fitzgerald carries well. Cooke at 6s and 7s defensively here through the attack, and Griffin catching and drawing finds Driscoll, and it's a lovely little offload to Curnan. Ellie Curnan finds inside centre Michelle O'Driscoll, looking for a second try of the afternoon as play breaks down about 4 metres short of the line. Gemma Lane has her forwards outside. Laura Lee Baker breaks 1 tackle, breaks 2 and gets over the line, and Laura Lee Baker has been outstanding all afternoon. Scores Ballincollig's 4th try, and that's the bonus point after 46 minutes, and Ballincollig have been excellent in the opening exchange of the second half, Aoife.
And I think Gemma Lane, like, she's just the tenacity of her, and the lack of fear, you know, that she's able to take that ball on her own with no support and just go straight through is really good to see. And I think as well they're kind of finding their flow again. I think Ballincollig, I think Cooke seem to kind of be, I don't want to say out in their feet a little bit, but I'm just really surprised they're not contesting any rucks. You know, that just they're kind of letting the ball kind of come back. You'd think that with Cooke, with how heavy they've been going on their forwards, that they'd be trying to blow them out of it and win that ball back, but it just doesn't seem to be happening. It's
been very evident that perhaps the word from half time for Ballincollig has been to move the point of attack. We've seen the likes of Aoife Fleming, Claire Coombs, Laura Lee Baker with a little tip on passes, keeping those Cooke defenders guessing in the soft shoulders, which gives credence to your point that they are struggling to perhaps deal with the pace of that, and they're going to need to really plug this gap if Ballincollig continue to play the way they are.
Yeah, and they've been playing so narrowed, you know, like, do Cooke have to kind of take a step back, look at their defence and realise that Colleague are spotting their gaps, are taking those squares down the wing. You know, it's going to make the half seem very long if it just continues that way.
Alison Kelly taking her time over the ball. Slight breeze seemed to have picked up to call in a teammate to hold it, as Kelly kicks the conversion to move the score to 22 points to 5, and after 47 minutes you get the feeling, Aoife, that Cooke are going to need to get the next score, and they're well capable of doing it if they can stay in the right parts of the pitch.
Yeah, and I think, you know, just confidence wise, I think they need one more under their belt. You know, the tenacity is there, the aggression is there. You know, they've come out of the blocks swinging basically, but they've just had nothing to show of it so far, which is, I suppose, disappointing for them. So they maybe need to kick it up a gear and maybe look at how they are either defending or how they are attacking. That maybe there does need to be a bit of a switch up, or this 40 minutes is going to seem very long for their forwards.
Cooke slow to get up for the restart. Changes on both sides. Amanda Morton, right footed, sends it into the night sky, and it looks to have been dropped there by Tiara Seguenza. And picture perfect afternoon up until that point, and much like in the first half after scoring the try, it's on this occasion it's Ballincollig who make the error just after scoring. It's
just small things, you know, I think it's those things that just kind of happen. I don't think Ballincollig have had anything too overly major. You know, you've had the 1 or 2 hospital passes down the back line, but they've kind of fixed them, so it's just, you know, everyone has to have their odd knock on here and there just to get it out of their system, and better to get it done early on in the half than at the crunch moments.
Very true. Georgia Boyce, the ball at the base. Captain Camley has the inside centre on a short hard line, elects to use her. Rowan Neal with a good carry. Cooke just inside the 22 now. Boyce passing from the base of the ruck. Second row, Ellen Patterson. Carry again, Cooke in the 22. score just before half time. McCamley again, she's been absolutely outstanding this afternoon, but well marshalled by the Ballincollig defence. Cooke quite narrow in attack here. You get the feeling that it's going to be route one. The ball is out, but it's well marshalled and it's picked up by Georgia Boyce again. The scrum half for Cooke's side, Ella Garland, the loose head, finds Morton. Morton dinks it in behind, perhaps the winger. Tamsin Boyce didn't really know about it, but Ballincollig try and make a move through Ellie Kernan, well marshalled by Tamsin Boyce there. Ballincollig, the ball is touched there, so everyone's onside, and it's well taken by Tara O'Neill, the inside centre. Got through a fair bit amount of work in this 50 or so minutes this afternoon. Boyce to Garland, standing at first receiver. Referee has penalty advantage as there's a lot of space outside. Sloan steps off the right hand foot, tackled on the inside by Gillian Coombs, but we'll come back for the penalty. Referee says that Ballincollig were offside, and Cooke calls of corner coming from the touchline, but Captain McCamley, who's been brilliant off the back of the scrum all afternoon, says they're going to go for the line out. Better play, Aoife, from Cooke.
Definitely, yeah, and I just think Colleague seemed a little slow to try and get that kick off the bottom of the ruck. You know, just again Cooke putting pressure on them, and maybe there being a little bit of, I suppose, panic and stuff there. They just slowed it down a little bit too much. That kick didn't come clear. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see now how Cooke's line out will go, because neither line outs have been kind of too spectacular today, even with the conditions being so probably well suited to them for once.
Cooke with the 5 metre line out, the ball in the hands of Megan Simpson. McCamley towards the front of the line out has Ellen Patterson in the middle. They go towards Patterson and Garland. Little loop. Peel and Van Staten finds Morton. Morton goes out the back to Tamsin Burke. Burke finds her full back Laura Cairns, who steps inside as Ballincollig try and fold around the corner. But Cooke again, lovely little interplay between forwards and backs. It's in the hands of the winger. Wonderful feet there by Katie Gilmore. The referee has blown the whistle. It's calling over a Ballincollig player. We wait to see the direction that's going to be given here, but he's going to the pocket. And after 52 and a half minutes here, it's going to be a yellow card for outside centre Alison Kelly. No signal as of yet given, but Cooke will have a player advantage for the next 10 minutes. And you get the feeling, Aoife, if they want to get back into this game, they're not going to need to come out of the 22 with a score here.
Yeah, and I have a feeling from one of the calls from their outside centre, they're going to try and play it wide. I think it's the hope of this. Now that they are a woman down, and Ballincollig even, so this should be an interesting scrum.
Well, the outside centre, Alison Kelly, has been sin bin for the next 10 minutes, so Ballincollig are going to defend 5 flat, so they do leave themselves susceptible to a little dink in behind. But Cooke have the ball at the base of the scrum at the feet of McCamley. Boyce hits Morton standing and moves the ball out to the outside centre. It's a lovely little play. An interchange. Laura Cairns tackled by her opposite number. Cairns 4 metre short. Boyce to Morton. Morton being wary of shooters, and it's the hot stepper Katie Gilmore moving on the right foot, and Boyce again has McCamley so difficult to stop in close quarters, but she's well marshalled by her opposite number Seguenza. Both captains colliding yet again this afternoon. Sloan with a little pop up to Megan Simpson, the hooker. Slow play again, but Cooke building as Sloan looks to carry herself, and Sloan is very close to the line. The referee says held up there, and a desperate body blow for Cooke not to get the score there. And Ballincollig, 14 player Ballincollig, will be delighted with that outcome.
Yeah, and I think as well, like looking at Cooke, I think they had ample opportunities to get that out wide. I think they were just a small bit too slow. in one or two opportunities there. But again, you know, I'd say sigh of relief for Ballincollig for sure.
Cooke held up over the line means a goal line dropout for Ballincollig. And the ball goes, but it's dropped and it's picked up in front. So the offside there by Cooke will give Ballincollig a full arm penalty there inside the 22, and that's rather unfortunate for Cooke as they look to potentially build another attack inside the Ballincollig 22.
Again, it's one of those awkward bounces. Well, there is no bounce on this ground really at the moment, so it's just one of those kind of awkward moments of, do I dive on the ball, do I not dive on the ball? And your instinct is always to dive, so it didn't pay off this time.
Ballincollig find a decent touch as they negotiate this sin bin. Maybe some of the dark arts here, Aoife O'Callaghan, who knows, to wind down the clock. 22 points to 5.
Well, it's just whether or not this line-out will pay off again. Do you know, it's just that either side hasn't been sitting with them at all. So maybe they've kind of found their flow in them maybe this time round.
Coombs calls the line out. There's a hand
That
from
was
Cooke
better.
that gets into it, but it's out the back. And it's the inside centre, Michelle O'Driscoll. And even though they're down a player, they're on the move here. And it's Bridget Tuig, the try scorer, who's still on the move. Wonderful run by Tuig. Met with a big hit from the Cooke full back, Laura Cairns, who gets back to her feet rather gingerly. Ballincollig again, driving the feet in contact. And just a little knock on at the base of the ruck. But we've said her name on numerous occasions this afternoon, Aoife. Bridget Tuig is absolutely electrifying to watch.
Oh, she's brilliant. Like, that was a fantastic run. And I think that's the Ballincollig we've been waiting to see a little bit, that explosion kind of off the line. And just the speed off her and stuff. So, yeah, I think there's still a bit of energy in them yet that's yet to be unleashed. So it'll be definitely an interesting half an hour.
Sinead
So.
O'Reilly at 15 is replaced by number 20 Anna Roach, who has come off the bench. O'Reilly, a safe pair of hands and a try score in the first half to make it 15 points to 5. That means Ellie Kernan will move to 15 for Ballincollig for the time being, with a little bit of positional switch. Number 22 Kate O'Sullivan has also entered the fray, standing at out half for Ballincollig as Georgia Boyce feeds the scrum, and McCamley pass didn't quite stick to hand as Ballincollig try and counter. Megan Sloan does very well, has been in the wars this afternoon, tackled well by replacement Ciara Fitzgerald of Ballincollig. And Cooke again, it's been a feature of their play, that one really hard carry. They need to be careful not to get isolated here,
Oh my God.
as O'Sullivan gets taken out of the breakdown. Cooke have been turned over here, it looks like. The ball has been turned over again, very messy at the breakdown. But they carry well through open side. Aoife Madigan, Emily Martin carries there as Sloan passes on this occasion. Morton steps off the right hand side, dummies left. Nice little show and go by the out half. Been solid all afternoon. Ilse Van Staden carries well. Cooke varying the points of attack, but so far Ballincollig answering the questions. But the referee says Ballincollig have infringed at the breakdown, and Cooke will have an opportunity to go down the line here if they elect to do so. Better so far, Aoife, from Cooke in the second half, but with Ballincollig having a player down, they'll be much happier over the period it's in bin.
There seems to be a bit of a bite there as well. Do you know, I think you spotted there at that ruck. There was a little bit of vergy, not a whole lot, but there seems to be a bit more. It's kind of this fire lit, I'd say, under Cooke a little bit, that they kind of want what they probably deserve from how they've played so far, you know. So it's good to see, though. It'll definitely make the rest of the game interesting.
A little bit of a talking to being had between both captains and the officials. A handshake between both sides. Perhaps they heard Aoife O'Callaghan saying Archie Burgee in the commentary position. The outside centre, Alison Kelly, still in the bin for Ballincollig as Tia Maguire receives a small bit of attention. You get the feeling, Aoife, the next 10 or so minutes is pivotal for both Cooke to get back into the game and Ballincollig to ride out the sin bin.
Yeah, definitely. I think Cooke, as I said, have a little bit more bite in them, so I think they're just itching to get back into to Colleagues 22 and hopefully come away with a score. Do you know, I think something's definitely been lit underneath them that they feel they deserve more than what they've been getting. There's been opportunities there that they've missed out on, and I think they want to get those opportunities back again.
Tara O'Neill finds touch halfway between the Ballincollig 22 and 10 metre line. Line-out has been better in the second half for Cooke as Ilse Van Staten gives Megan Simpson the call. McCamley at the front uses a dummy again. Look to get into the air, but a little knock on there by Ballincollig, and will restart again with a scrum for Cooke. And with the player being down in the back line in the centre, it is an opportunity here for Cooke to pick the right hole and potentially get a little break on an inside shoulder here, Aoife.
Yeah, definitely. They need to spot that gap though, because I think they have a tendency just to run up quite flat. I think if they get a good deep back line, kind of, and maybe draw the Ballincollig players in around that centre channel, they'll open up a rake of space out left here.
A lot easier from where we're standing in our elevated commentary position to call where the space is, but as it stands, 22 points to 5 as we enter the final quarter in this Energia All-Ireland League fixture. Boyce finds Morton. Morton takes it hard to the line, and wonderful little play, and they do seem to have found the gap. And it's the speedster on the wing here. Tamsin Burke was an opportunity, but she's well marshalled by Ballincollig. The ball just about jumps up at the ruck. Ballincollig doing very well to slow to set their defensive line, and the counter comes in from Ballincollig, and it's a turnover, and wonderful work by the Ballincollig backs, but it's turned over again by Cooke, and there'll be a second bite of the cherry here for Tamsin Boyce, the high flyer, well marshalled by Ellie Kernan. They've had quite a battle all afternoon, and McCamley can't quite grab that ball. Perhaps the high floodlights as the night closes in get in, but Cooke, as we said there, Aoife finding the gap, but Ballincollig scrambled D answering it.
I think she was just desperately unlucky as well. If she just had that support line running just maybe a little bit closer, there could have been an offload off there, and there could have been a moment there for her. But again, it's just them not spotting things, I think, and letting her, I think, go on her own. But as they said as well, you know, we said earlier that no one was contesting in the ruck, and then it seems like they've all finally decided, oh yeah, here we go. So go to Ballincollig to get stuck back in there and stop that inevitable try, you know.
The set piece battle has been intriguing all evening here in Tanner Park, as Gemma Lane has been brilliant. Zip delivery to Anna Roach, the replacement, but Morton, that pass, and when it's not your night, it's not your night. The first error from Morton there, but Cooke with 2 or 3 errors, and when they want to get back into the game, they really need to be making that ball sticking.
Yeah, and just they've been unfortunate errors, but at the same time, it's like every time they get some sort of ground, it's like they have to take 3 steps back before they end up there again. So, you know, it's unfortunate for them that they're putting the effort in and then just getting nothing from it. But such is the game of rugby, unfortunately.
Laura Lee Baker, the try scorer, who's been brilliant all afternoon, has departed the field. Ciara Fitzgerald, the replacement. Lane feeds. Lane again finds inside centre, stepping in. Fitzgerald, lovely little show and go, takes the ball to the line. Anna Roach, an entirely changed backline there. It's a lovely little carry by Michelle O'Driscoll, the try scorer in the first half. And Van Staten very quick to get off the line there. The referee has said that Van Staten, you get the feeling that that's a repeated infringement for being offside. Van Staten will spend the next 10 minutes in the bin. The tight head for Cooke showing ill discipline there. We saw it in the first 20 minutes of the game, them shooting off the line, and the referee has put the foot down. Has been consistent all afternoon. And you talk about a balance swing there, Aoife. We've seen Alison Kelly, the substitution, or rather the yellow card, back to 15 players, and now Cooke, who are seriously under the pump and 17 points down, are down to 14 for the next 10.
I think it was, I hate to say it was kind of coming for her maybe, but as I said, she's been pulled a couple of times, so for her not to kind of, I suppose, step up and take on the comments of the ref, like it's unfortunate timing as well, I suppose, coming to the close of the game, but like at least, you know, she'll get at least 5 or 6 minutes once her 10 minutes are up. But yeah, look, it was coming, unfortunately, so I think Cooke needs to start watching those little disciplines, that they're not cut out with another one in the bin. And they seem to have made that change. They don't seem to be shooting up in defence as much anymore. So it's just making those tiny tweaks just so they're not caught in the hop again.
Aoife Fleming has the ball in hand, ready to throw into the line out. Kate O'Sullivan is standing in the 10 position for Ballincollig. As the ball goes out over the top, and referee says that there's an advantage being played to Cooke for a knock on, doing their best to disrupt the set piece. As Boyce, lovely little line there by Madigan again. It's been a feature of Cooke's play, that one hard runner tried to get gain line, and they certainly got it there. Chop tackle on the second row. Gillian Coombs with a good tackle there for Ballincollig as Cooke looked to move the ball wide. That's a good tackle on the winger, Tamsin Boyce. And Ballincollig in the wide quarters decide to go again inside centre. Michelle O'Driscoll is on the move here, and it's going to be a try, is it? Held up. The commentators curse calling it quite soon. Ellie Kernan, for all intents and purposes, looked like she was going to score there as outside centre. Moves the ball in. It's a good carry by the replacement, Ciara Fitzgerald, for Ballincollig as they go in search of their 5th try. Gemma Lane slows it down, moves it out. Fitzgerald, lovely hands there, and it's a brilliant break by the inside centre, Michelle O'Driscoll. And O'Driscoll, who's been brilliant all afternoon, scores the 5th try. And again, Aoife, a wonderful mix between forwards and backs, and Ballincollig scored their 5th try this evening. Oh,
and I think they got very lucky, I think, at one stage with the fact the ground is so sodden, as one would say, that the ball did not bounce. But again, Michelle O'Driscoll, like, she's just a baller. Like, she can do no wrong, in fairness to her. Like, she's really stepped up to the plate, for sure. Her 2nd try of the afternoon is Michelle O'Driscoll. A real feature of Ballincollig's play has been the ability of multiple first receivers. We've seen Fitzgerald step in. We've seen Jane Pennefather go early doors. We've also seen Kelly Griffin go in there as well, and it took maybe 15 or 20 or so minutes to get into the groove, but we've seen now the real comfort, and I suppose the real key to all that has been quick ball, and Gemma Lane, a name we've mentioned quite often this afternoon. Yeah, and I think as well, just for Colleague having that depth and that confidence in the depth of players that they have, is just it speaks wonders to their game plan and stuff. And again, like, great boot from. And Anna Roach drills the conversion through the posts, and Ballincollig now 29 points, to 5 up. A 24-point margin against the Cooke side. It's funny, I was actually watching her when when I pulled up. She's practicing her kicking before they start warming up, and like from every angle she can just send that ball absolutely flying. Like, it was the same for her at 18. She was a fantastic player at 18, so to see that she's managed to carry it over to senior is fantastic, and she's got such a bright future ahead of her. Yes, the ball boy and ball girl are sent into the darkness of the second pitch to find that ball as Roach sent it skyward, and with 13 or so minutes left, Cooke restart. Coombs carries well, and Ballincollig trying to find a space. Lovely little offload there, but it doesn't quite stick in the hands of Anna Roach, and Cooke, through Ballincollig's enterprise, will have a line out just inside the 10-metre line of the half. It's a brilliant offload. It's just unlucky that it's that greasy and it's that kind of muggy kind of weather that the ball is like bar soap, I'd say, at this stage. And believe it or not, from your pictures, it is a perfect night for rugby. As we said, the ground a little bit wet and a little bit of dew on the ball,
But a word, Aoife, on the skill level from both sides, particularly the forwards, the footwork of both the Flemings, Ciara and Aoife, in the front row for Ballincollig, the continuity play through Coombs, Laura Lee Baker, who starred for 60 or so minutes. It's a testament to the coaching staff in Ballincollig for the skill level and for the players for sticking to it.
And definitely, like, you can see it with the two Flemings, like, the minute they get that ball, they don't just drop. Like, they're not afraid to take those couple of steps and not afraid to kind of work the ground a little bit, which is really good to see, especially at like such a young age, you know, that they're not afraid to kind of one up and maybe take on any players that might be a little bit older than them, might be a little bit bigger than them. You know, they've really stepped up to the plate, in fairness to them. And it's every metre counts, I think, in this game. Especially in those early stages, they've kind of, I suppose, they've got a big enough gap now, they can kind of settle into things a little bit more. But even on those first instances in the first half, they were like well able to front up and gain as much ground as they could.
Vice captain Cara O'Kane leaves the field through injury. We hope to see her back, and hopefully that's not too serious. The replacement, Kirsty Jackson, comes in for Cooke. 5+ line out. Jackson has Patterson behind. Still waiting for the injured player to go off the field as Ella Garland gives the call again to Megan Simpson. Simpson finds the replacement, Jackson, clean line out, and Fleming goes hard on Morton, but Cooke get over the gain line, and it's a good carry.
Very good carry.
There's the full back, Laura Cairns, in at the 9 position again, and McCamley, brilliant carry. Cooke have forward stacked on the left hand side, but Morton goes on the outside. No real space for Cooke's wingers as they're swarmed by that Ballincollig defence, but they reset again and carry through Ellen Patterson. The big lock forward carries again. Morton, little show and go to Garland. Garland with the leg drive again, and they venture inside the Ballincollig 22 as Sloan, been brilliant, good knowledge of the rules there, releasing the ball on the ground and getting up again to gain another few yards for her side as McCamley, her teammate in the back row, shows up. Carry again that looks like a permanent change for Laura Cairns into 9 for Cooke, and Sloan loitering around as Garland on the outside. Cairns finds Garland, but ball down around her knees, and it's a knock on, and the referee says that we'll come back for a penalty as Ballincollig were not rolling away at the breakdown.
They're really trying to slow down that ball, I think, definitely. Ballincollig, even if it does give away a penalty, I think just trying to slow that ball down ever so slightly, that even though Cooke seemed to be down the player, they seem to be drawing Ballincollig in defensively, so that they are opening up the wings.
The ball at the feet of McCamley, the captain. Nice little show and go. Almost fooling us in the commentary position, but they're 3 yards short. McCamley again with the carry. Has tried incredibly hard. Cairns, lovely little show and go, and Sloan, and it's no more than Cooke deserve. Their second try of the afternoon, and nice little intricate play from the 5 metre line yields their second try of the afternoon.
It's been a long time coming, in fairness to them. I think there's been a couple of really missed opportunities for them, so that they've finally gotten one under their belt, or one more even under their belt. Hopefully it'll drive them on now for the last 10 minutes or so.
Indeed, it will. Sloan has been brilliant. The back row unit of Gemma McCamley, Stacey Sloan and Emily Martin have done Trojan work for Cooke. The tee slow to come on for Cooke here, and the referee is speaking to Amanda Morton, getting a breather himself before the tee comes on here as changes for both Ballincollig and Cooke as we enter the final 8 or so minutes.
It's always that awkward moment though of, do I wait for the tee? Do I just take the drop? Do I?
Well, certainly from that distance I'd be waiting for the tee as Morton strikes it well, but it's going to drop short. And after 72 minutes here in Tanner Park, Ballincollig with a bonus point secured, lead by 29 points to 10 against the resurgent Cooke side. If I suppose the first 15 minutes, or the 15 minutes before half time and the 15 minutes after half time, have really been where Ballincollig have excelled.
Yeah, I think they've really kind of stepped up to the plate. Maybe there's a bit of fatigue, I'd say, kicking in a small bit now, that they have let Cooke up. I don't want to say that easily, but there has been a couple of breaks that they kind of didn't give away as much in the first half. So I say fatigue is slightly kicking in. But then look, I'm surprised that the Cooke forwards have held on that long as well. Do you know, is on the other side of things.
Roach's kick-off finds Morton and Cooke in the mood to throw the ball around as we enter the final stages of the game. Jackson, the replacement, has done well since coming in. Morton with the ball, right-footed, is blocked down by Gillian Coombs, who's got through an incredible amount of work this evening. And Ballincollig in the 22 yet again in the hands of Kate O'Sullivan. And it's the replacement, very close to the line, fires the ball back but cleaned up by Coombs. Ballincollig again looking for their 6th try as the replacement, Ciara Fitzgerald, been really elusive in contact since coming into the game. Nice little interplay between Alison Kelly and Anna Roach there again. Roach, Ballincollig agonisingly close to the line looking for their 5th try, and it looks like they're going to get it. And they are going to get it. And through replacement Shirley Bailey, it looks like, we'll see on our television replay here, a lovely little line off the shoulder of Alison Kelly. And it's Roisin Ormond, with the try for Ballincollig. And again, they've been absolutely deadly in their conversion rate in the 22. Aoife, and Helen Brosnan will be very, very happy with that.
Big time, yeah. Do you know, they're really stepping up to the plate again. I think they might have took the foot off the gas a little bit maybe in the first half, that they're kind of saying like this is our point to kind of put their stamp on it, to put, I suppose, the nail in the coffin for a Cooke kind of thing. So, you know, I suppose just to, and like having the bonus point secured and all that as well, I suppose they can now kind of comfortably play the way they want to play, you know. And it's always great when the other team scores a try and you score a try back. You know, it kind of takes that little bit of pressure off.
Kate O'Sullivan from a very similar position lines up our 2nd conversion of the evening. Strikes it very well, does O'Sullivan. And the cheers on the other side of the pitch will tell you that it's successful, which brings the score to Ballincollig 36, Cooke 10 in this Energia All-Ireland League fixture. If Ballincollig have been full value for it, the result is beyond doubt, but Cooke won't stop fighting.
Yeah, exactly. And I think like this, the scoreline isn't, I suppose, relative towards the game that's actually been played in front of us. I think at half time I didn't think we thought we'd see this much of a run away from Ballincollig. You know, we thought Cooke might hang in there a little bit longer, but then at the same time, the minute they get into that 22, they're just hell for leather. They're so aggressive in it, so there's still games to be played, so who knows.
Indeed, we spoke about Ballincollig and Helen Brosnan in particular trying to break into that top 4, you know, the big names of Belvo, of Blackrock, of Railway and Bowes, and it's a step in the right direction as we restart through Morton. Lovely little one-hander to Gillian Coombs and Shirley Bailey with the carry. Bailey out the back. Roach's conversions have extended the lead. Alison Kelly standing at first receiver as the blind side is on to go. Coombs screaming for it, but Kelly decides to put boot to ball and it finds grass as Cooke scramble, but it's well dealt with. And it's a wonderful little break here by Cooke. Ruck well resourced as they come down through. Gemma McCamley again. The captain has been her usual self this afternoon, carrying as the ball is knocked on by Cooke, and Ballincollig will have an opportunity here. Good skill set. Aoife Madigan again still playing advantage for the knock on as Ciara Fitzgerald carries. The referee says no advantage, will come back for a scrum. With 3 or 4 minutes to go, you can sense players gasping for air in some instances, allegedly forwards over backs.
Well, no, just from Cooke's way Cooke has played today, they have been so reliant on their forwards. Like, I'd be wrecked if I was relied on that much in one game. So the fact, in fairness, that their front row has more or less stayed the same for the entire game is a testament to their fitness as well at the same time.
Double try scorer Shelley O'Driscoll departs to warm applause from the supporters on the far side. Has been excellent all afternoon for Ballincollig. As Ballincollig, Alison Kelly standing on the right hand side, which is where Seguense carries well, and it's a lovely little pass, but it's judged to have just been forward there for Alison Kelly. But lovely little play in intricate tight spaces for Ballincollig there, and they're a joy to watch here at the moment.
They really are, and I think as well it's just small margins for them. It's just teeny tiny little errors that are maybe racking up a small bit, but like they have played really, really well, in fairness to them. And it's just if they can get those little errors right, like I can see them breaking the top four. I can see them putting on a show against the likes of Bows or Railway, you know. So I wouldn't write Ballincollig off at all. I think for the coming seasons, I think there's something nicely kind of building there.
It's clear to see. Wonderful community here in Tanner Park and the surrounding areas.
It's great to see so many young people out. I love seeing all the little girls kind of running around and being able to look up and see, you know, the older players playing at the top level and stuff. I think it's a really good thing to see, and really good thing for the community, and obviously like a really good thing for the club that, you know, male family members feel that they can bring along their daughters, they can bring along their little sisters, and show that there is an opportunity for women to play rugby in Ballincollig.
Absolutely. And plenty in attendance. Lots of packs of potatoes and my waddy sold in the clubhouse this afternoon as Morton sends it in behind, but it's well marshalled by Laura Cairns. Cooke bringing the D line up and turning the ball over. There is an opportunity, and the referee says ball is played off feet, and Cooke will have an opportunity to finish with a flourish as we enter the dying embers of this game. McCamley still barking the orders, the captain from 8. As Cairns taps, they go left. The replacement Jackson is tackled by Coombs. They've got numbers on this side as Ballincollig come around the inside centre. Tara O'Neill carries well. Cairns again finds Ellen Patterson. The referee again has been consistent all afternoon in all facets of the game and says no releasing the tackle again. And Cooke look down the line. Tara O'Neill right footed. And O'Neill right footed will find touch, and that is a running clock on your screen, so we are at the discretion of the referee as to the amount of added time that's going to be added on. The result is not in doubt, 36 points to 10 here in Tanner Park, but Cooke, as we said, will look to finish with a flourish as Ilse Van Staten gives the call to Megan Simpson. Kirsty Jackson has been the line-out target since she has come in, standing behind Gemma McCamley with Ellen Patterson. Simpson, Jackson again, the target, and they do find her to Cairns. Cairns finds Morton. Morton, it's a lovely little out the back switch, and Cooke moving the ball from side to side. Carried well by Tia Maguire, the outside centre for Cooke, and it's Van Staten has been prolific all afternoon. A nice little offload there, and Cooke looked to have gotten in the corner, but we might be coming back for a forward pass. We're not. The referee has said that it's a penalty. We haven't seen the signal, but Cooke again showing good enterprise, moving the ball from touchline to touchline, and they're calling over Tara O'Neill again to go to the corner. Don't fix it if it's not broken, I think. Exactly,
and their line-out seems to be working for them eventually. So, you know, I think go for whatever you think is your strongest. The fact they haven't kind of gone for them all is quite interesting, I think, especially with, as I said, the reliance they've had on the forwards, the fact that they haven't gone that route. But if they could just get the ball out the backs a little bit faster, I think they're just slightly static. I think they could be in. But again, you never know with Ballincollig. They could be straight up and make them panic, and it could go either way.
Simpson finds Jackson again. It bounces off the head, and it's, as they say in Cork, leathered downfield by Ballincollig. Still fighting, even though the result is beyond doubt. As the open side, Emily Martin carries again, a good carry, not held. McCamley, the intended recipient, that she carries very well again. Fitzgerald with the tackle. Morton finds outside centre, but the shooters don't allow. Tia Maguire, she just finds a little soft shoulder. And Ballincollig, the breakdown work there by the replacement, Roisin Normand, has been brilliant. And you get the feeling that maybe that. As Kate O'Sullivan kicks the ball. And a little bit of indecision. But in the end here in Tanner Park, in this Energia All-Ireland League women's fixture live on Irish Rugby TV, the final score, Ballincollig 36, Cooke 10. Aoife, a really, really dominant performance from Ballincollig. What impressed you the most?
I just think the fact they were able to bounce back. I think they had a few jitters at the start, but they did manage to eventually find their flow. I think Anna Roach, when she came on, she was fantastic. Shelley O'Driscoll, I can't say anything bad about her. She had a fantastic game, and I think she's one that they tend to like to rely on in the back line, which is good. But then also, she is missed when she goes off on Clover's duty or on Munster duty. But I think they're building a really good team, and they seem to, once they get in their flow, it seems to go really, really well for them. I do think the scoreline isn't reflective of the game we saw. I think Cooke came out of the blocks, I think, a lot more than we thought they might have. But I just think they were desperately unlucky at times. I think there could have been probably 2 or 3 more tries on that scoreline, and it would have been a lot closer. But they were just unfortunate at the end of the day.
Yes, indeed. Consistency, we might say, for Cooke. Maybe something that they would look to work on, but well summed up there by Aoife O'Callaghan. From myself, Daragh Frawley, and from Aoife O'Callaghan, thank you very much for tuning into Irish Rugby TV Live. Have a very good evening.